ladies and gentlemen. We're coming to you again tonight. Just going to be kind of a little fireside chat kind of thing. I'm hoping that very soon, though, that we can be having these little get-togethers from the Oval Office in the White House. Because, as you know, as if you've seen my previous videos, I am running for President of the United States. And as President of the United States, one of my main topics of focus is going to be education. Some have asked me what my education background is. I'd like to get into that tonight. Bless you, honey, the cameraman just sneezed. I'd like to get into that tonight, but before I do, let's talk about this president thing for just a minute. You know, every 4 years in this country we have an election to elect a new president, leader of the free world. We have elections for Congress, Senate, legislature, governors, local, city, county officials. We keep having these elections. They're very stressful. It really is very stressful. So, with the upcoming election, and I appreciate your vote, but I would very much like for you guys to consider just making me your king. I could do that. I mean, over in England, they got a queen. She don't do nothing. She goes to royal banquets, makes an appearance and eats. I can do that. I like to eat. Think about it. You know, maybe we can just go from this every 4 years thing, just make me leader of the free world forever. I'd be good with that. Well, getting back to my education, let's start right at the very beginning. My first day of elementary school, actually my first year, was in an old, renovated Spanish-style mission in a little town in the Sacramento Valley. It had a dirt floor. Grades 1 through 8 were all in the same room. That's a true story. I just thought I'd throw that in. It seemed colorful at the time. Well, what about higher education? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Many of you know that my background is in car sales. I spent about 14 years selling cars. Now, many of you have preconceived notions that a car salesman is a guy with a plaid jacket and a big cigar and he's looking to steal your money. Not so. Most are highly educated professionals. They have high moral standards and a work ethic of fairness. Many have studied hard to get into the profession. They've undergone extensive training. I personally am a graduate of the Junior Samples, University of Used Car Sales, where I studied online at www.br549.com. I'm also a card-carrying member of the AARP. That's the American Association of Really Tired People. That's why I want to be president. I'm tired. I want a vacation. I want some time off, some downtime. Don't look at me all funny just because I'm in this for my own selfish gain. So is everybody else. They just aren't being upfront about it. They want to trick you. They want to deceive you. I'm just telling you the truth. You see, the Lord spoke to me a long time ago, and He said, just be honest with people. Sure, sooner or later you're going to have to tell people something that they don't want to hear. You're going to know they don't want to hear it. But the truth is always going to come out. He told me this one day while I was in the bathroom. God speaks to me in the bathroom. In the shower. Does He talk to you in the shower? Does He talk to you there too? I know He desires intimacy with us. And I can't think of too many other places more intimate than that. Sometimes He'll speak to me when I'm combing my hair. I do comb my hair in the bathroom because that's where I keep it. I keep it in the sink, I keep it in the shower trap, I keep it on the bath towel, but it's in there. So that's where I'm at when I'm combing my hair. Some people don't fully understand that God has a sense of humor. You see, even I get serious before the Lord. Let me tell you a little story. Do you have a minute? Gail and I have encountered a little treat from the people at Weight Watchers that we tried once and we thought was mighty tasty. We've been eating a lot of Weight Watchers lately because we're trying to keep our weight down and lose weight just like everybody else. Well, these little treats were mighty good, albeit they were a bit pricey for someone who's pre-Whitehouse. Well, one day, and I know his hand was in this, because I never go to this particular part of the store. I found myself in a local store, went back by the frozen food section, and there were these little treats we so much like. And they were so cheap, I just had to pick up a few. Now, I talked earlier about a sense of humor. We're going to get to that sense of humor thing. I didn't forget it. It's coming. Be patient. One night during a worship service, I was praising the Lord and thanking Him for all He had done for us, which I do. I know many of you do too. All Christians do. Thanking Him for the times when we had no money, yet He somehow paid the bills. I don't know how, I just know He did. I thanked Him for His presence in our lives, for all the big things. And I remember telling Him I was even thankful for the small things as well, such as the favor He showed us with those little treats. Then I heard Him say these exact words to me, as I'm being so serious and so thankful and so holy and so reverent. The Lord says, I knew you'd like that. So I may not know how to run the country, and I may not have any qualifications, but let there be no question, I am a Christian. I know that my Redeemer lives, and I want to see Him in the White House again. Thank God He doesn't send the qualified. He qualifies the sent. Now, I can sit here, actually I'm standing, but my notes say I'm sitting, and try to make up some funny stories to tell you, but the true ones, the ones that really happen, aren't they really the funniest? For example, guys, have you ever said the wrong thing? And I'm talking to the men now. Because our wives always say the right thing. They never do this. But we men do. So, have you ever done that? Just said the wrong thing, or perhaps dwelt on a subject with your wife just a little too long. Kind of wore it out. Until she says something to you like, you know, this is all we've talked about for the last hour. Can we talk about something else? I've done it. In fact, I did that once. It was a special day. It was our anniversary. And Gail and I had a date to go to dinner that night at the restaurant that we first went to when we first met. We were going to go have dinner at that restaurant, but I had to work. And I was selling cars. And I got held up because somebody wanted to buy a car from me. So I had to call Gail and say, look, I'm going to be a little bit late, but we'll still go. She understood. She spent 14 years of this. She understood. Okay? So I got home, all excited. I had sold the car. Boy, I was the hero of the day. Honey, you're not going to believe this. These people came in and this thing went on and on and on. We went and got in the car. We drove to the restaurant. We got to the freeway off-ramp. And she says to me, this is all you've talked about since you got home. Can we talk about something else? That's when I knew that, yeah, I need to talk about something. Not another word about this for the rest. You won't hear another word about it, honey. Not going to happen. So I'm determined to change the subject. Say that this is going to be a special night. It's our anniversary. So we get to the restaurant. I pull into the parking lot. I look around. There's one parking space open in the whole parking lot. Out of 3 million parking spaces, there's only one parking space available in the whole parking lot. Right next to the Buick I had just sold earlier that day. Things took a downhill turn from there. So I'm just bringing that up, guys, to just kind of give you a heads up. Don't dwell on this stuff. Just try to ease into another subject. Don't beat them to death. But that happened, and that was back in the days when I was selling cars. I don't sell cars anymore. I get a little part-time job right now, which brings me to this. Have you ever been late for work? How many of us have ever been late for work? And the boss is usually pretty understanding about it. I mean, things come up, things happen. Sometimes we don't make it into work at all. So last week, I was about 20 minutes late one day. My boss, who is usually a pretty good guy, became a whole different person. This man went crazy. Hey, Raymond, you're late. What's the matter? What's going on? I said, look, I want to make this right. I was late, so I'll make it up by leaving early. It just made things worse. Here, I'm just trying to help. I even told him, look, I said, tomorrow's my day off. Here's what I'll do for you tomorrow. Just to make this up. On my own time, I promise I'll take a set of golf clubs out of the sporting goods department, take them down to the golf course. If you'll pay the green fees, I'll try them out, make sure they work okay. We got golf balls that say they're supposed to go straight. We'll test them out. After all, we want to make sure that when we're selling your product, that this didn't help either. There's just no pleasing some people. Oh, life went on from there. But I do remember getting home that night. And I turned on the news. Wanted to see what was going on. How many of you like to watch the news? Anybody like to watch the news besides me? I like to know what's going on in the world. Do you like to watch the news? Does anybody think that the news media is kind of running out of things to report on? Is it just me? Last night I turned on the news and they spent 20 minutes telling me it's raining. I mean, from the time I turned the news on, breaking news, hey, it's raining. Guy's standing there, he's got an umbrella, he's outside in the rain. Mom at least told me, it's raining, you may want to come inside. Close the door, will you? It's raining. And this guy's standing out there, he's got the rubber boots, the yellow jacket, and the rain coming down. And he went on for 20 minutes. I went to the door, I turned the porch light on, I looked outside, sure enough, it's raining. He was right. But they don't stop. They don't stop it. The weather is it's raining. They don't stop it, that's too easy. They drag out these charts and graphs. They show me a big map of the whole valley, the Sacramento Valley and the foothill area where I live, and the Sierra Nevada mountain range beyond us, and this thing's just covered in a blanket of green. That's not good. Green is not good. I learned that night. If you got green on your screen, that's not good. But he spent all that time pointing out all that green, and then he zeroed in on this little area in the green, right up in the little county where I live, right over our city. He says, "See that? That's an area of yellow right in the middle of the green. I thought, that can't be good. Everybody knows yellow means caution. This is not good. We've got yellow in the green. Now what are we going to do? So, I'm making sure all the windows are closed tight and the doors are double locked and all that. And he spent 10 minutes going over the yellow in the middle of the green. And to make things worse, when he got done with the yellow, he said, now let's zero in on this yellow area. And if you look right here in the yellow, there's some orange. There's orange in the yellow on the green. I'm thinking, get the phone. We need to call 911 now. Send out the National Guard. We got orange in the yellow on the weather map where the green is. This is really getting to be scary. I mean, orange is worse than yellow. We want to avoid orange. And apparently, based on what Mr. Weatherman was saying, we don't know how bad orange is. But we know it's not good. But it is good for at least 10 minutes of in-depth weather coverage. Now, having said that, he moved up into the mountain area with his little pointer. He has a little pointer, kind of like Mrs. Fountain had in the 5th grade for her little chalkboard where she'd point and she'd tap on it if you weren't paying attention to it. And he's got the pointer and he's pointing at the white up in the mountains. Oh, we all know that white means snow. So I expect to see snow up there in the mountains. We're talking about the Sierra Nevadas, for crying out loud. Don't get me wrong, I'm not downplaying. This is serious stuff. I mean, the Donner family was up there in the snow back in the 1800s, and I mean, they invited family over for dinner because, well, they had white up there, and Mr. Weatherman, when he pointed that out, they did what they had to do. But then, because the weather is color-coded, he pointed to something that was a little lower than the snow, that was pink. He had pink in the white. When you got pink in the white, you better get a snowblower. You better have one. Okay? This is no time to go down to the Tractor Supply store and try to find a snowblower. It's too late. If the pink is there, you should have thought ahead because you're not going to be able to just go hire a high school kid with a snow shovel to shovel out your driveway so you can get to work in the morning because it's pink. And that's everybody knows what pink leads to. Additional in-depth coverage relative to falling snow levels. It can be found at the higher elevations, but if it drops to the lower elevations, you can just about look for a weather advisory to come next. Sure enough, the next thing they talked about was a weather advisory. That's right. We were advised we'd have more weather tomorrow. It just never ends. One final thought. As bad as pink snow is, yellow snow is worse. We all know that. Don't eat yellow snow. Now that the storm has passed, the news media is going to dwell for 30 minutes on the aftermath of last night's storm. Because not only did we get rain, the wind blew. Now what are we going to do? We're going to be subjected to fallen trees, swollen streams, walking catfish crossing the street, causing an additional driving hazard. That's right. People don't think about walking catfish being a driving hazard, but they are. They never use a crosswalk. And they never get ticketed for jaywalking. Cops don't mess with walking catfish. They got those spike things on them, and you don't want to get stuck with one. That hurts really bad. I've been stuck. Plus, you can't arrest a catfish. Where are you going to put the cuffs? So that being the case, they're just going to have to be a driving hazard whenever we have flooding conditions. Bottom line is this. Forecasting the weather is easy. I do it all the time, and I'm never wrong. Test me on this. I'm going to be your president. You want somebody that knows what he's talking about. Somebody that knows what he's doing. I'll give you the current forecast right now. Ready? The forecast for your region. Dark again tonight. Test me on it. Anyway, I want to leave you with this one final thought. It has nothing to do with education or the weather. It has to do with a remark that our president made early on about his critics. He said something to the effect that his critics would say he was wrong if he said the sky is blue. I remember hearing the recording on the news. If I said the sky was blue, my critics would say I'm wrong. Well, Mr. President, the fact is, your critics would be right again. You see, Mr. President, I'll argue and even prove to you the sky is not blue. That's an illusion. Disagree with me? Go outside tonight about 10 o'clock and look up. With that, I just want to thank you for joining me tonight. God bless you all. Don't forget to check out the Power and Presence Ministry website. Gail's always putting fresh manna in there. If you want a cup of cold water, she'll give you that too. Good night, everybody.